Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So this will be the walkthrough for the WA1. This will be very helpful for you to do your preparation and do your corrections for retest. Okay, so for the first question, this is our classic inequalities simultaneous. So simultaneous inequality. So the first step will be to split this two and then split these two, so that's why these two come about, and from there I'm just going to solve each of them. So you can see that this is 3, this is 2. I'm going to move this here, and this -4 goes to the right. That's why I end up with this. Okay, and for here it's quite simple. So this -1 goes left, this one goes right, so I'm left with this. Both sides I'm going to divide by 3. Okay, so I'm left with the two answers. So it's x less than 7. So you can see that 7 and 3 and then -3, right? These are two numbers here. And then x less than 7, so it's open circle. And then from there, I'm going to draw to the left because it's less than. And then similarly, this is a -3, less than or equal. So there's an equal sign here, so I'm going to do a shaded circle. Also to the left because it's also less than. So at this point, we're going to see that this part over here is the one that has both the inequalities, and that's why the answer is this area, which is effectively just x less than -3. Okay, so that's the answer. We call it left in the notes. Okay, so this is again another classic question. We're just sketching a quadratic graph, the double bracket version. So from the two brackets, you can see that it's -4 and 8. Okay, so always the so-called negative number of two numbers inside the bracket. So that's where the -4 and 8 comes about. And then I'm going to find the middle of these two numbers. That's why you can see that over here is 4 plus -4, or sorry, 8 plus -4 divided by 2. So it's 2. So the middle number will be 2 here. I draw the dotted line, and there's no negative here, so it's a U shape. So I'm going to do the U shape here, and then I just draw a nice shape, and then it's going to cut somewhere at the y-axis. So how to find this number? I'm just going to sub x equals 0. So x equals 0 with 4 times -8. That's where the 32 come from, -32. So I didn't have to get this point because the question never asked for it. It's just both axes. Okay, so the next question. Okay, so this is the question 3. This is to ask you why this working is wrong. You can see that they factorize this one, so get here, and then they cancel both by 2x minus 1. So actually this is the mistake. Okay, you cannot cancel 2x minus 1 because you're going to lose one of the answers. So let me just demonstrate what the correct working should be. You can see, so from here you factorize is okay, and then over here I'm going to shift this whole thing to the left, and I'm going to factorize out the 2x plus 1. So I take out 2x plus 1, I'm left with 3x minus 1. That's where this comes from. And then from here it is 3x minus 1 equals 0, get 1/3. 2x plus 1 equals 0, get -1/2. So actually you lost the -1/2 here because you cancelled away the 2x plus 1. So that's the answer. Okay, next one is a classic completing the square. So I start from here, I need to show this. Okay, the moment you see something like this, you must automatically know it's completing the square. No need to say one. And there's a equals 0 at the right side. So my first step is to actually get this -4 to the left. Okay, so from here to the left, that will be 4 minus 3, that's where the 1 comes from. And then with these two terms, I'm just going to complete the square. Okay, so it's the plus minus bracket, and then the number in the bracket should be this x coordinate, which is 4 divided by 2. And then from here, this 2 becomes the perfect square, so it's x and this number. And I'm left with the -4 here plus 1, so here. And after that, when we talk about solving, right, so over here we're going to just solve, and this one goes to the left, both sides square root, and then this plus 2 goes to the right. That's why I get this answer. And you notice they never say give in decimal point, so I'm just going to leave it as that. Even if you give the decimal point, it's fine. Okay, the next one. So this is an explain question. Explain why the minimum point of this graph is -3, 8. Now we have been well trained, right? So just by looking, you know the the minimum point is -3 and 8. But some people don't know why, right? So this is quite complex. This is very A maths. So when you say minimum point, we want the lowest possible y value. That's why the minimum point is the 8, right? So 8 is the smallest possible number. Now why is this so? Because of a bracket square here. You think about it, a bracket square means a number square, right? So if you square a number, it will never be negative. So the least possible number that can come out of this bracket square will be 0. And 0 plus 8 is the smallest possible. So the question is, when is this bracket square equal to 0? It is when x is equal to minus 3, because minus 3 plus 3 equals 0. 0 squared is still 0. So the minimum value, which is 8, occurs when x is minus 3, because it makes this whole bracket 0. And that's what this sentence is trying to explain. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, so next one, this is our classic fraction algebra question. So single fraction, right? So you learn in primary school, the denominators must be the same. So the question is, these two denominators got linked or not? Got. Because if you factorize this over here, the cross method, right, you get these two brackets. So you can see that it's x plus 5, x minus 3. And then this one also has x minus 3, which means this is the correct denominator. So this fraction is just short of x plus 5. That's why the denominator and the numerator will both times x plus 5 over here. You can see that it's 2. And then at this moment, they are the same. I'm just going to combine. So it's 3 minus 2 times this. You notice I write this down. If not, I will make a mistake easily. So after that, I'm going to expand. I'm going to simplify. So that's the answer. Okay, so this is our inequality, but it's a story mode, right? I give you a story, you give me the inequality, then you solve it yourself. Okay, so two person, 15 and 8 years old, and then you can calculate how many years it takes for the sum of their age to be more than 40. So more than 40 simply means like this, more than 40, so something is more than 40. So you notice they didn't tell you what's x supposed to be, but if you read the story, it should be quite obvious. X needs to be the number of years you need lah. So after x years, this guy is going to be 15 plus x. This guy is going to be 8 plus x. So if you add them up together, their age must be, the sum of their age must be more than 40. So that's the inequality. Once you can form this, it becomes very easy. You just, simplify, turn this x plus together 2x, and then this 23 goes to the right. You're left with this divided by 2, so you get x more than 8.5. Now you notice they want the answer to be nearest whole number. So x more than 8.5 is not the answer. I need a number that is more than 8.5. And obviously it's going to be 9, because 9 is the first number that is more than 8.5. Okay. Now we are back to at the last question. This is our big quadratic question, the long question. Okay, so a cycling trip, 80 kilometers, and then took x hours. Ask you for the speed. So in primary school, you learn that speed will be distance, this one, over time. So it's x over 80 over x, free mark, right? And there's another guy. You finish it before, finish it 30 minutes before. But you got to be careful. This is hours, this is minutes. Very tricky. So his speed is the same thing. It's still distance divided by his time. But while his time is x minus half an hour, because see, 30 minutes is half hour. That's why it's minus 0.5 hours. Okay, so at this moment, we're at the part we're going to prove, right? So Mary's speed is 6 kilometers slower than Henry. So I like to think of it like which number is bigger, because something minus something needs to be 6. It's pretty common sense. The bigger number needs to minus the smaller number to give you a positive 6, right? Cannot be the other way around. So between these two numbers, which denominator is smaller? This denominator is smaller. So the same number divided by a smaller number will be a big one. So I write big, small here. And in my mind, it needs to be big minus small equals 6. Okay, so before I write 6, I need to check. This is 6 kilometers per hour, kilometer per hour, kilometer per hour. So it's fine. The units are same, so there's no trick here. So minus minus equals 6. After that, it's just simple fractional algebra. You simply times every single term by this, which comes from the two denominators timed together. So just in case you still don't get this at this moment, so if you take this whole term times this, this 2 cancels out. I'm left with 80 times x. That's why it becomes like that. This whole thing times this, the x and the x cancels. You're left with negative 80 times this. That's where this comes from. And of course, x times this, the whole thing is here. So after that, you simply just expand everything, shift all to one side to achieve the equal to 0, and you can see that you get the same thing shown. Now, this is the free mark part. Even if you cannot show the first part on top, you need to do this without fail. So A is 6, B is -3, C is -40. Put the formula in, whack it in, calculate this number, press your calculator for the app. Don't press the app, don't press these, please. Okay, so you get this one. So I like to do a longer decimal. I put 5 decimal place, 5 decimal place, and then I look, what do I want? I want 2 decimal places, so I round it up to 2 decimal places. At the end of the day, like I always say, this is not the final answer because they will ask for something, you see. So what they want, Mary's cycling speed, so that will be here, Mary's speed. So it's 80 over the x. So what is x? X is this one, 2.84, because it cannot be negative, right? Makes sense. So it's 80 over x, this one. You get this decimal, and since it never say anything, the default will be 3SF, so it's 28.1 kilometer per hour. So that's all for this WA walkthrough. Hope you've learned something. Do your corrections, prepare for the retest if you need to. Thank you and bye-bye.